Alright, let's go into game 66. Yeah, 66. And we've been doing pretty good lately. Been on a little bit of a win streak. It's looking like Legend's not too far away now. Up against Demon Hunter. I consider keeping the Grizzled Wizard because it's good against their hero power. I also consider keeping the Mulch because it's good to get rid of big minions with. Oasis Surger is good, but it's a little too expensive to keep. I end up tossing the Mulch. I decide I'd rather get like more 1 and 2 drops, or maybe a 3 drop with Taunt would be okay. Looking back, I kind of wish I'd kept the Mulch. There's like Henchclan Thug, Priestess of Fury, even Glavebound Adept are all worthy minions of mulching. In fact, Mulch is one of the only ways we can deal with an early Henchclan Thug. And I think I'm going to start keeping that against Demon Hunters. Kind of aggressive start from our opponent. And well played from our opponent. A lot of the Demon Hunters we've been facing lately have been like coining hero power even though they have other 1-drops. Because they just want to like power up their Squire. But our opponent here played the 2-1 in the Squire, which is a lot better. We could Wrath, but I decided to hero power. I'm thinking I'll Grizzled Wizard down their Squire next turn. Playing the Eagle would have done nothing. It would have just died to hero power. And I want to save the Wrath in case we need it against like a Thug. And we see the Battle Fiend, and it's looking kind of rough so far for us. It's a pretty aggressive opener. The Grizzled Wizard is going to do quite a bit of work here. We get a 3-2 that will not get wrecked by their hero power. We get to remove one of their growing minions, and suddenly they don't have a great turn. They do have Warblades, which ends up being pretty decent. And this was why we removed the Battle Fiend instead of the Squire, because the Battle Fiend would have grown from that attack, whereas the Squire does not. So it's turn 4. We can spend lots of ways to spend 4 mana. I think definitely want to Wrath that Squire before it gets too big. I decided to make an Eagle. I'm thinking he's probably not going to want to hero power and attack with it into it, but looking back, I think we should have drawn. Of course he's going to attack into it, even if it means kind of like wasting a hero power in a way. He's not really even wasting it because he gets the extra heal. I think drawing would have just been a lot better for us off of that Rising Winds. So this turn we got a couple of options. We could cycle with the Winds. We could play Crystal Merchant to cycle a bit more. The other option is make an Eagle and Crystal Merchant. Eagle's not great once again because of their hero power. We could have Poison Seeds the Henchclan Thug. The main reason to do that is if you think they might have Warglaves. I decided to go with the Archboar Mishfin in case he does have or it's just it does more damage to the Thug if he has to attack into it than the Merchant does. He does have the Warglaves though. The Henchclan Thug is big. And here we're seeing where Mulch would have just been so nice. I have to Poison Seeds that Thug. And I drop Steladris just for the minion. On board. Does die to the Warglaves, but that is 3 less damage. Not going face, and the mana burn is so crucial here. Of course, they did have lethal with Leroy. They had lethal with Glavebound Adept. So we are probably going to be dead here in most cases, but the mana burn definitely feels the worst, because here we have the Spreading Plague, this Malfurion. I could have just brought us back into this game, but the mana burn. We've got no way out. They've got lethal on board. They've got 8. We have no way to go above that. So it's a good game. Good play from our opponent. And that's why I think we definitely should have kept the mulch. And also cycled with that Rising Winds when we had made that Eagle. We're going to game 67. Or 68. 67. Up against a Warlock. Want to mulligan as if it is discard Warlock. Wrath and Zephyrus are both great against that. Don't want to keep Branching Paths against that. I decide to keep the Fendril just in case it's a slower deck. It can combo with the Wrath. Looking back, I think we should have tossed the Fendril. He's just a little too slow against discard Warlock. See the Kobold Librarian, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's Q-Block or Menkathun Warlock. So we're just going to pass, no need to do anything quite yet. Then we see the Ebonlock with the Flame Imps. So we know it's discard Warlock now. And that is a huge board. We could, a couple options here. You could coin out the Tar Creeper. You could Wrath and Spellstone. Killing the Ebonlock is kind of a priority, but he's already probably played most of his demons, so it's not too big of a deal if we don't kill him at this point. I think what I'd go for is Zephyrus in the Lightning Storm on the following turn, and I think this is a pretty good play. It allows us to kind of reset the board against pretty much everything they play at this point. Only Doomguard and the Matron or Patron have more than 3 HP, and those are 4 and 5 mana. They make the good trade into the Zephyrus and then push the rest face. We Lightning Storm. It's an easy clear, although there's a 50-50 on the Fellstalker. We lose the 50-50. And I have to make the tough decision here to coin out the Spellstone to remove it. Which means we can't coin in the following turn for Tar Creeper or Archboar Mishfin. But if we don't coin now, they get to push 4 extra, and then they can use it to trade into whatever taunt we play on the following turn. So I just got to do that. We do have some plays we could do on the following turn without the coin. We have Wrath, we have Hero Power, we have Crystal Merchant. None of which are too great against that. But they discard a Golem, so we can at least Wrath that down. Crystal Merchant doesn't do anything there, and we're getting pretty low, so I think that was the play. Pretty insane start from our opponent. Another Fellstalker into a draw 3. Expired Merchant into a draw 3. So they've got a full hand and a big board. So now it's our turn. We got 5 mana. The Druid of the Swarm is a great top deck. This turn was looking pretty rough without it. We wouldn't want to Elise or Fendril really, and so we were going to play a 3-drop in Hero Power, but now we get to play a 1/5 taunt alongside it. Quite a bit better. But this board is just slowly being lost, and we've already used up Zephyrus, so Really, Spreading Plague is our only way out from this point. Reno could buy us some more time. It's Reno or Spreading Plague. We get neither. Whew. That was a beating. Good play from our opponent. They had the Ken with that nuts opening. And interestingly, we did see them playing Kobold Librarian. So it looks like that deck does sometimes play it. So if you see Kobold Librarian, it doesn't always mean that you're up against a Mechathune Warlock or a Cube Lock. It could still be Discard Warlock. Alright, so here we go into game 68. First 2 losses in a while there. Just good old aggro. Giving us the beats. Up against Warlock again, same principle. I considered keeping the Poison Seeds after that game, but really we shouldn't keep it. It's only good if you're like really far behind, and then even then it's not great. So we're just going to mulligan for early drops so that we can contest their Ebon Locks and Malcazar's Imps with. Consider playing the Crystal Merchant. It could get punished if it's like a Mechathune Warlock or even Cube Warlock and then they Plague of Flames it, but that'd be pretty extreme, I think, to see from them at that point, so I think it's safe to play it out now. The upside is that now we could, in theory, play like a 2-drop and still draw off of it on this turn. We're just going to play the Saproling 1/1s and draw off the Merchant. We see a Death Lord and immediately I go, okay, so it's got to be Reno Warlock. It's the only deck I know of that plays that card. I consider mulching it. Looking back, I think that was the right play. I think we should have mulched it. We would have gotten... I didn't end up mulching it because I think in case it pulls a key card, I want to be able to Zola that key card. But if we had just mulched and pushed for some more face, I think that would have been better. Instead, we go for Grizzled Wizard. Trade in the 1/1s so they don't have an easy defile. We don't Hero Power because we're going to draw either way with the Merchant. If we Hero Power, we don't get the Merchant draw. The Merchant draw is better because we don't lose 2 life from the life tap. Yeah, looking back, I think we just should have mulched there. Definitely should have mulched. Now they get to use that 2/8 stats of their Deathlord. We lose the board that we had been winning otherwise. No way we want to use the mulch now. So now we could Oasis Surger, and that does pretty good against their board. We end up with a lot of 1-health minions, which isn't great against Defile. We also don't draw. So I decide I'd rather draw up the Crystal Merchant, and I think that's not a bad play, actually. We just cycle, so we want to use the rest of our mana, and we're just going to cycle with the Branching Paths. And I think with the game plan we've chosen, I think that was alright. The Oasis Surger play does leave us really open to Defile. And we're obviously against like a slow deck, so pushing against a slow Reno Warlock deck. But then we see the second Void Lord, so it can't be Reno, and now I don't know what I'm up against. My first thought is maybe it's just Cube Lock that has teched Void Lords in. That could be reasonable. It's a Death Rattle that gets resummoned with Enzoth, and maybe they're facing a lot of weird combo decks that they want the Death Lords for. I'm just gonna make some Oasis Surgers this turn and see what comes out of the Death Lord. And it's a Lace, and that is such a huge hit. That was the worst card to see pulled. That is how we go infinite value against these other slow decks. And now they can just remove it and it's gone. But they don't. They play Cartoot Defender. And they leave up our Elise. So now we can Zola it. Not all hope is lost. The question is, what else do we do with the turn? I consider for a moment, is there anything else we might need to Zola if the other Deathlord pulls? But no, Elise is the best card in our deck against slow matchups that aren't combo. So let's see what comes out. Stiladris, that's fine. We don't need to combo it. I think we just hero power down the Cartoot Defender. No need to play too much into a board wipe like Godfrey or Defile or Dark Skies. There's Godfrey. And there goes our board. But that's fine. That's why we didn't play the Tar Creeper last turn. We can play it this turn alongside the Sludge Belcher. But instead of Sludge Belcher, I think we go for Loatheb, and I like that a bit more. Skulking Geist is a weird card to see. So now this is really strange. Actually, looking back, I don't think we even should have considered Godfrey if I was still thinking it'd be Q-Block. But now we've seen so many strange cards. A Godfrey, a Geist, and two Deathlords. So I don't know what I'm up against. I'm just going to play Malfurion, make 2 Poisonous Spiders. I had it in my mind I was going to use the hero power to like help clear out the board. But then I realized there isn't really any beneficial attacks I can do with the hero power. The best would be to hero power maybe the Godfrey and then use the Tar Creeper to trade in with it. But I decided I don't want to really attack my minions into his. I just want to go face. With the board the way it is, it's really hard to play around Defile. He can just make a 1 health minion. We already have a 2 health minion. So I decided we're just going to armor up and go face. I could have done the attack mode, but with Void Lords and all that, I don't think we're going to be pushing lethal against them. We just want to make sure we don't get lethal if they make too many big demons. The spiders are great against the Void Lord here. What is the rest of our turn going to be? I think there was a consideration for Dirty Rat, but I'm hoping I can duplicate Dirty Rat with Elise so we can pull out more minions. We don't want to play the Acolyte of Pain. It'd be too easy for them to defile it. And then we would overdraw 1. Though, we really don't want to mill Zephyr, so I think this was right. The plan is to play Acolyte of Pain on the same turn we play the Poison Seed, so we just don't ever draw off of it. Mistress of Mixtures. Okay. It's a 2 health minion. Looks like he's setting up for... Okay. Suddenly it all makes sense. Hellfiend, Treachery, Defile. There goes my hand. Well done, opponent. Well done. There's still a chance that Elise or Enzoth could have survived it, because we end up with a few cards left. But alas, only the Dirty Rat and Fendril survive. That's pretty devastating. I look at our deck sizes, and I'm trying to think if we have any chances left, and I think we do. If we Dirty Rat like their Enzoth, that's so much value. Also, these Rising Winds with the Fendril really refuels us. And we still have Zephyrus. So I think there's still a chance. We're going to have to get lucky with the Dirty Rat to pull their ends off. And then hope that they don't draw Gul'dan too early. But if that works out, maybe they have more bad cards in their hand. They might have Treachery that's just useless. They might have another Howlfiend. They could be sitting on dead cards, and we might just be able to eke out a victory despite losing all that value. The owl is a nice sign. That's pretty bad for our opponent. Sludge Belcher's not bad either. Draw a card Toot. I consider Dirty Ratting this turn. They're low on cards. Best chance to get Enzoth is now. And we pull Doomsayer. I think we decide just to let it go off. I consider Spellbreakering it, but there's going to be better targets to Spellbreaker. Besides, it's clearing up some of their board as well. So we'll just let the Doomsayer go. Suddenly, it's 3 cards against 3 cards, and sure, they do have Gul'dan and Enzoth left, but we have Zephyrus, and we don't have the bad Treachery card and Howlfiend that they have. There's a Doomsayer. That's just another card gone from their hand. We'll let it go off. Like, I'm imagining if they just have, like, Howlfiend and Treachery in their hand and no way to activate it, we could be doing pretty well. They have a Dreadlord here. That's not great to see. I think we just decided to play the Reno Jackson over the Kartut because the Reno Jackson has 6 health, so it survives an attack from the Dreadlord, and it has higher attack. We definitely attack into it, so that next turn Reno can trade in, and we can use the attack on something else. Could have Spellbreakered as well, but I really want Reno to trade into this Dreadlord. Ooze. Okay, there's a tech card that's useless against us, and suddenly this is starting to look, despite that insane Howlfiend combo against us, despite the Deathlord pulling our Elise, we might still have a chance. I decided I'm going to just use the Spellbreaker here to deny them the 5/5 from the Dreadlord. And then play the Kartut Defender alongside it. Make the trade with the Reno, protect him from the slime with the Kartut Defender. We've got a board. We have just as many cards in our hand as our opponent, pretty much. We've got a better hero power. And there's Gul'dan. Okay. Let's see what it pulls. Okay, not too much. Just a Dreadlord. I consider Zephyrusing here, but then I think they probably still have Enzoth in their deck. We're going to probably need Zephyrus to deal with that. And I think if we can pop that Voidlord, we can get a big Spreading Plague. I can't remember if I had played the Branching Paths yet, but I think I had. Right, I used it to cycle earlier, but during the game I thought it was still in my deck, so I was hoping I could get a bunch of the Scarabs from the Spreading Plague to survive and then possibly buff up the following turn. So now our opponent has this insane hero power, though. So even if they don't draw Enzoth for a while, it's going to be really hard to win on the board. And then once this game goes to fatigue, I think we are fatiguing first, and they have the better hero power. So we've really got to do something amazing with Zephyrus, maybe, or something. We do have the Archspore Mishfin, which is some nice value. Interesting. Okay, so it's a Defile. And I think on the previous turn, I wish I had hero powered into the Dreadlord instead of one of their Voidwalkers for exactly that reason. So this turn we just have to punch that, play out a few minions. Not going to play Zephyrus this turn. I'm trying to decide whether I want to play Poisonous or Taunt. I decided to go with Poisonous, and the reason being, yes, it's weak against the hero power, but if he has to hero power this, that means he's not playing Enzoth on his next turn. So I decided to go with the Poisonous, and if he does Enzoth, we'd much rather have the Poisonous out than the 1/5. The 1/5 Taunt just dies too easily to the 5/5. So here they hero power it, trade in. Now our hero power can finish off that 5/5. I played Wrath. I really think we should have hero powered. It's definitely a Zephyrus turn. I'm hoping I can get Ysera somehow. I don't know the right order to do it in to guarantee this Ysera more. I decided we definitely want the board clear so he doesn't think about that. We want him just to think about the fact that we have an empty board, an almost empty hand, an almost empty deck. Yeah, I do think we should have kept the Wrath in hand, though. I think we should have hero powered instead of using the Wrath. Siphon life, so no Enzoth. Ysera's going to get a turn to stick. There's a chance. What we need is like Ysera Awakens, probably 2 in a row, to clear out the Enzoth board. Just a Laughing Sister. That's not great. There's Enzoth. No. I think we're just going to play Mishvin as taunt mode to protect the Ysera. Just going to keep waiting with Ysera. I'm calculating quickly if I do want the rush, but no, we want the taunt. Just as much health on taunt that will protect Ysera. And we're not going to trade with Ysera because we don't want her to take any damage. They have that hero power, and so her getting damage down is a possibility. Get a Nightmare, not a great one, and there's a Twisting Nether. That's going to be a good game. Oof. That was a rough one. But good job for our opponent for pulling off that Hellfiend combo. That's probably one of the few ways that we can get outvalued with this deck.